So I was showing a friend how to play Battletech, and this is an interesting thing because, and this is true of any wargaming system, where you have knowledge, you've got the miniatures, you kind of know the ins and outs. Someone that's new to the game, any game, not only are they learning the rules, but the narrative. They need to kind of understand certain things. So it can be a little bit challenging getting others into Battletech. On a sidebar, the Game of Armored Combat starter set, I have to say, fantastic production value. Not a bad mech in there. The dice, the maps, the books, intro to the narrative. I mean, this is an amazing starter set. And yes, of course, you're going to branch out with other mechs, and I hope to give you some ideas. But it's not a teaser box. It's not like X-Wing miniatures where it's just this kind of disguise to get you in on more ships. You could take that box set and play that for a long, long, long time and really enjoy a lot of different missions and a lot of different tactical games. I was bringing my friend into Battletech, and we were just picking mechs. The idea was, I'm not even going to try and get into battle value and tonnage, but I explained, light, medium, heavy, assault. And we picked one of each weight class. Let's just throw down some mechs and play. Now, of course, if you've been following my vlogs, if you've been checking out my blog, look, I only took one AC-20. That's it. I love big guns. Big guns never tire. Fritz rules number 1. Big guns never tire. Rule number 2, when in doubt, charge. When in doubt, attack. Rule number 3, if there's a chance for glory, it has to be taken. Almost to the point where the mission doesn't matter. And I played many war games. I've thrown away victory of many war games because of just absolute glory needs to happen on the table, especially if it's glory where it results in a charge, hand-to-hand, close combat, man versus alien, all that type of stuff. So we took some mechs. I took a Hunchback, and we're playing Battletech. We're going through. I run the Hunchback up there. I'm throwing some hurt on the Dragon. He took a Dragon. He took an Enforcer. I took some hurt on the way back. My light mech got messed up. I was running, I think, a Wasp or a Stinger. I get up there and I fire the AC-20. Headshot. Centurion. Blows it off. Done. So then I have to explain to my friend, you lost this amazing battle machine, war machine, Titan of God of War to a headshot. You're dead. It just exploded and that's it. You didn't get to eject. He was like, what? So moving into Battletech, right? The power of the headshot, what is it? How the heck can we get it? And if I'm going to roll 6s, if I'm going to roll boxcars, if I'm going to roll 2 6s, I want that on the location chart. I want to save my dual 6s for the location chart. The challenge in this, of course, is first with any mech, you have to breach the armor. Light mech, it's easier to do in theory. Medium and heavy, harder. Assault, very hard. You got a lot of armor. Then after you breach the armor, there's a chance for a critical interaction based on the dice roll, where the subsystems, depending on the location, if you're in the legs, it could be the ankle, it could be the hip, it could be some heat sinks. If you're in the middle section, this is why there's a lot of armor central torso. You've got the gyros, you've got the engines, the arms, you might have weapons, you might have ammo that explodes. So what we see is the fact that, yes, there are times where you will literally blast away at a mech. You will blast away and away and away, blow off the arms, blow off a leg, no armor left, and you finally collapse the internal armor and it just folds in on itself. Most of the time, a mech will be destroyed, taken out of action because it's one of its critical systems is destroyed. A gyro, an engine, because damage transfers in. As you blow the arm off, it moves in. This leads in the narrative to salvage. The fact that the mech might be destroyed, its engine might be destroyed, its gyros might be destroyed. Very, very critical systems, very expensive CBIL systems, especially if you're in a campaign. But the other parts of the mech might be perfectly fine to use. So how does this work on the head? Well, the head, no matter what the tonnage is, has the least amount of armor. It also has some very, very critical systems in there, 2 of them being life support and sensors. And it's the fact that it's the location of your mech warrior. So very, very vital. It's also the hardest to hit in most cases because going on the chart to shoot at, no matter what the facing is, forward armor, left side, right side, rear armor, you need 12s to hit the head. So it is kind of up to luck. Can you roll on a 2d6 12? So there's a couple of things to get there. First, you have to be in range. Then you actually have to hit. Then you roll to see where it is on the chart. So right away, the first kind of thing that we see is, well, the more weapons you shoot at, the greater the chance that you will get a headshot. This is where we see infantry kind of being a little bit beast. This is where we see short-range missile packs and other cluster weapons being beast. You could hit with that lucky PPC shot, and it breaches right through. Because remember, there's not a lot of armor on there. You might be able to take a couple of infantry hits, and you might be able to take a couple of laser hits, but an AC-10, a PPC, it's going to move into the internals. Once we move into the internals, there are ways to outright kill the pilot. There's ways to cripple the mechs with the sensors. But the other thing to remember is the fact that you have to make a pilot check to remain, a consciousness check, to make sure you don't just pass out. I mean, from the impact. Side note, narrative. Why the heck do we put the head on top? Why not put it in the center torso? Well, there is a model of the Thunderbolt that has that. One of the newer Iron Wind metal sculpts that put that bulk in there. There's also questions of why do we even have a glass or a transparent cockpit like it's the 1980s, a fighter jet. Well, Battletech is the 1980s. And despite the advanced systems and heads-up display and neuro helmet, sometimes you still need to see what's going on. I read somewhere in the narrative, and those of you immersed in there, there's a couple of you who are like, just know absolutely everything about Battletech. I mean, I'm pretty good with the narrative, but nowhere near the proficiency that you guys have. It was explained to me that it's actually the same type of material, the armor, that a mech is made out of, but some sort of process in the manufacture, which isn't necessarily easy, allows it to be transparent. So it is armor, I guess like laser-proof, bulletproof glass with that. So it has the same armor. But when you get hit, you have to make that check. Now, it becomes very easy early on, and the numbers get higher and higher. But look, anytime you roll dice in Battletech, it's not necessarily a good thing. You miss a kick, you got to make a pilot check. I don't know. You could fail. Consciousness check. I don't know. Could fail. Running up a hill and something happens and you got to slip and you're going to fall. I don't know. You could fail. So we try to want to avoid those as best as possible. But in that, if you lose consciousness, and I had this happen in a game, that same T-bolt that has no head except in the center torso, this catapult's an amazing mech. Catapult is one of those machines. We've looked at it. I pushed it up to the archive. The Catapult is one of those machines that you're looking to expand your collection, or you've got your favorite mechs. You're looking to bring something to the table. You're not really sure the mission of what you're going to face. Catapult can't go wrong. Good armor, good mobility, jump, the redundancy of the long-range missiles, multiple medium lasers, best class inner sphere for damage versus heat versus range. I mean, everything is, okay, it doesn't have arms or hands. Everything about it is great. So the whole game, this Catapult's been jumping around, running around, launching missiles at me. And I was like, you know what? I had enough of this. I've got a T-bolt. T-bolt's good, but you got to watch the heat. Dangerous combination for me because I'm always pushing the heat. And I'm chasing this T-bolt up the hill. I get close enough. Bam! I hit it to the head with a medium laser. A large laser. That's good. That's good. Everything's okay. Fails pilot check. Fails consciousness check. Night. I walk up there. I'm like, pow, punch again, and just bam, knock it down. It could happen. So you want to be ready to follow up. So how do we maximize this? What are some of the ways that we can do it? Obviously, dice. The more dice you roll, the greater chance that might happen. Infantry, short-range missile carriers, short-range missile packs, lots of lasers. It's going to push that out. Another way to do it is to punch, because the punching chart This is what makes punching so effective. This is why even a stinger or a wasp, bug mech, things get kind of interesting punching. Although my poor Irby can't punch. You go 1 in 6 chance of hitting the head. Now, unless you're an assault mech or upper echelon heavy mech, you're probably not going to breach the armor. You're not going to knock the head clean off, but you're going to do some damage. And if you took a headshot a little bit before, you could breach it. And you're going to force, again, that consciousness check. When we move into the clans, things get a little more interesting. You could, in theory, target. I mean, there's some kind of rules depending on what you're playing. Targeting computers, aimed shots, called shots. If a mech shuts down because of heat, there are some ways where it is a little bit easier to hit the head, but the internal rules has made headhunting a little bit harder to do. I think that's a good thing because then that is a possible rules exploit where you would build lists to specifically headhunt, and it's supposed to be something that could happen every now and then. It's something that could happen in the game, but tactically within that band of rules, that's what we want to look at. That's what we want to do, and that's why getting hit in the head, even if you're in an Atlas or an Awesome, and you get hit with a medium laser, you're like, I'm fine, it's good. You could fail that consciousness check.